The tight line, slack line debate will probably go on until the end of time, but my preference, certainly in the spring when carp are a lot more mobile, maybe not showing as much as they normally do, is for a slacker line. I don't want my line dribbling off the rod tip when I'm fishing 80 yards out in the lake. I think that will probably cost you fish because they can move an awful long way. However, it's very naive to think that carp only swim in the areas that we've put bait. They use the whole of their environment, and a carp isn't going to give you any sign at the bobbin end if it bumps into a tight line. So a slightly slacker line, about halfway between the two, is something that paints and completes the carp fishing picture for me. A tight line, if I see that bobbin raise up to the top and gently fall back down into position, it indicates to me, one, there's carp in my swim, two, they might be feeding out near the hook bait, but it tells me there's carp there, and very often that's all we need to know to make us fish much more effectively. There are so many little stories that surround carp fishing, and one of them that always makes me smile is that carp go on a pre-spawning nosh up. Whilst I don't doubt that carp feed heavily in the spring, I do doubt it's got much to do with spawning. It's all to do with the conditions and how perfect they become for long feeding. It happens twice in a year, once in the spring and once in the autumn, and they will feed for great long periods of time. It's now that my bait becomes absolutely vital. A carp that has to move between mouthfuls is one that's much easier to catch than one that's grubbing around on one tiny little spot, eating particles and other small baits. I'm a boilie man. I use boilies for all my fishing. Winter, spring, summer or shine, I will be using boilies, invariably where I can in 15mm and 10mm sizes. And in the spring, I want to spread them over as big an area as possible. The carp are very mobile. I'm not fishing small holes in the weed because the weed hasn't come up enough. And if I spread those boilies out into two different sizes, especially the smaller ones, keeping in the area longer, the longer they're there, I'm more likely to catch them. So use boilies, use bait. I don't want to rely on the vagaries of casting a single hook bait at showing fish. I want those fish to feed. I want them to feed hard. And the harder they're feeded, the more likely I am to catch one. An hour in the right place is worth 5 in the wrong. Words written by the late and great Richard Walker way back in the 1950s. And it's as true today as it was way back then. Bearing in mind in the spring that carp are probably at their most mobile, looking for the warmer areas of the lake, looking for the emerging natural food, the things that they'll be feeding on for the next few months. And it's up to us to get on those fish. There's no way you're going to catch them if they ain't there to be caught in the first place. Don't set everything up straight away as soon as you get in a swim. I've left most of my gear on the barrow and got the rods out because I saw them here. Keep your eyes on the water and you might see where they're going to move as it gets into dark. And then as quickly as possible, you can get round there and get bait and hook baits in the area where the carp are. And that really is, in the spring, my top tip.
If you'd like to watch more videos from Fox Fishing TV, then click the link here. Or if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, then click the link here.